And we continue at 1:07 in the afternoon. Talk Radio 790 KABC, the John Phillips Show, broadcasting live from the Morongo Casino Resort and Spa Living Room Studios, where they deal you the cards as they are, so don't blame me if you don't get any aces. Mr. Randy Wang's at the sports desk in Culver City.
John, this week the AMPTP pulled out of negotiations with SAG-AFTRA, which means that Fran Drescher is getting all the way pissed off.
And I don't really understand it. Are you trying to make a deal with us, or are you just trying to insult us and think that, you can intimidate us?
She sounds like she always needs tea with lemon and honey.
You people are crazy.
Don't mess with her, AMPTP. She means business.
You have to wake up and smell the coffee.
That's what I call a union organizer.
It was insulting.
800-222-KABC is the telephone number, 1-800-222-5222. Well, a little birdie told me that we're going to have big political news here in California tomorrow, as embattled incumbent District Attorney of Los Angeles County, George Gascon, will officially announce his reelection bid for L.A. District Attorney tomorrow at 11 a.m. at the SEIU on Beverly Boulevard.
This the same George Gascon that's been silent all week about the atrocities in Israel?
That's right. I wonder if this is the union shop that ended up recording Kevin De Leon, Ulysses Hernandez, and Gil Cedillo.
Quite frankly.
No, Nuri Martinez and Gil Cedillo. Ulysses was not a part of that meeting.
That's right. Nuri Martinez. I stand corrected.
Why are people with us?
If that's the case, then we'll find out what he says on stage, and we'll find out what he says in the building before.
This will be the big kickoff to George Gascon running for re-election in 2024. As you know, several of his disgruntled employees are running against him. We've interviewed many of them on this show. But George Gascon teased that he was running for re-election when he talked to our buddy Alex Michelson at Fox 11 last week.
You're running for re-election?
I am.
A lot of people in your office are running against you.
Yeah.
Why do you think so many people that work for you are running against you?
Well, we looked at the first time that Cooley ran for re-election, there were 6 people running against him, right? So it seems to run in the space, right? Jackie Lacey had a couple of people running against her.
Including you.
And you not only were not a deputy district attorney, I don't believe you've ever tried a case as a deputy district attorney in your entire life.
This is a large office. It has
He unseated the black woman in the name of racial justice.
Let that one sink in.
This is a large office. It has there is a lot of there's a lot that comes with being the district attorney of LA. And I think also you can add to it that in addition to the past, and by the way, like I said, Cooley ran against Garcetti and threw him out of office. People forget that. Is that
Gil Garcetti, for people that may not know.
Yeah, that's right.
Gil
Yeah,
Garcetti,
no, you're absolutely right. Gil Garcetti.
Some people might know.
Yeah, Father Garcetti,
yeah.
right?
You mean the guy that blew OJ's case?
Father Garcetti, he's not a priest.
Absolutely. I think that, the system is going through an evolution. And any time that you're going through an evolution, it's very hard for people that have been in it for a long time. And I understand why some people...
These prosecutors that want to put criminals in prison, they're just bullheaded.
That's right. It's not that you're just a complete and utter failure at your job. Oh, no. It's because they don't like change.
And I understand why some people are disagreeing with some of the policies and they want to go in a different direction. And I also understand why some people they want to be the DA. I totally get it. They have been in the office for 20, 30 years. They feel that is their time. And
well, they feel like you won't let them do their job, so they're going to have to run against you.
That's right. We know that incompetence rises to the top, but even under that premise, we have our limits.
That is their time. And, the beauty of a democracy is that we get to do these things. And the public gets to evaluate difference in policies, difference in approach to the work, and then they can make a decision.
How does this guy not get knocked out in the primary?
Well, if there are 11 or 12 candidates on the ballot, well-funded, credible candidates, this vote is going to be split 85 different ways. and you might be able to make it out of the primary with 20-something% of the vote.
George Gascon was also asked, what are his biggest successes and his biggest failures in his first 4 years in destroying Los Angeles County?
Now, wait, that show's only a half hour. How can he mention all the failures?
And just thinking about the office so far, what are you sort of most proudest of, and what do you maybe think, I learned that lesson, things should change on that?
Yeah, I think I'm most proud of the fact that when I came into office, crime was going up everywhere in the country, the county. But here, immediately, those that were against me started to say, well, it's because of the policies. And now we have seen crime this year started to go back. We're getting close to pre-pandemic numbers. In fact, we're definitely, when it comes to violence, we're in the 10-year average now. We haven't reached 2019, but we're in the 10-year average because 2019 was a...
Is he trying to actually say crime is down?
Oh, yes. He is going to absolutely lie to your face every opportunity he has. This is what communists do, and that's exactly what he is. This man is a straight-up communist.
A very different year. No one knows why. And we see that all the policies are being implemented and crime is going down, which tells me...
You sure about that?
See, this is what happens in communist regimes. I remember a story I read one time. It was actually... The roots of this story go to Cuba, just like George Gascon. And Joe Stalin was of the belief that if you cultivate seeds in a temperate climate where the plant grows, that you could then take the seeds and move it someplace else and it would grow. So he decided he wanted fresh mangoes. So mangoes grow in Cuba. They don't grow in St. Petersburg, Russia. So because he was of the belief that if you just cultivated the seeds in Cuba, you could take the seeds, he could plant them in Russia, and he would be able to grow mangoes in Russia where it's freezing cold. And his scientists would tell him that that doesn't work. That's not exactly how you produce mangoes. You need to grow them in the climate that mangoes require. And what he did was he would kill the scientists who told him that. So he was only left with the scientists who believed that you could grow mangoes in St. Petersburg. I know it's hard to believe why they lost the war, but that's what Joe Stalin did. You disagreed with him, that's it with you. No more of you. No more bad advice. I'm only going to talk to the people who agree with me, and everyone else has to leave. And then they would tell people, we're going to grow mangoes in St. Petersburg. When George Gascon goes into a public forum and says that crime in Los Angeles is down, you are safe, and you have him to thank for it, that is Stalin-level craziness. That is Stalin-level lies. That is Stalin-level propaganda.
Tells me, and hopefully will tell others as you review this, that the policies were not causing the crime to increase. We knew that, but now there is proof of that. So I'm very proud.
It was all COVID. COVID's the reason the people were committing crime.
Oh, yes. Well, they were worried about being put on a ventilator.
What are the things that I would look back and say, geez, I wish I would have done a little differently? Look, COVID, when I came into office...
COVID.
He's going to blame everything on COVID.
When I came into office, we had about 10% of our workforce showing up. Right? Mm-hmm. People were working remotely. Every communication was done digitally. It was before we had a vaccine. We were all running scared. I visited every single branch and office in this organization, and it was not uncharacteristic for me to visit a place where there were 30 employees and there would be one or two. I wish if there would have been a capacity to have more of the ability to meet people in person, to have conversations with people in person.
I could think of a better failure. The time you let somebody on probation off with a gun charge and he murdered a police officer.
Think about this for a second. Think about this. Think about all the people he has let out of prison early because of his radical communist ideology, who have turned out to kill people, to shoot people, to rob people, to maim people, to rape people, fill in the blank. And his biggest regret in office was being too reliant on Zoom.
But that's not what occurred, and it is what it is.
Most of those deputy DAs running against you say they never even talked to you.
Well, I mean, you have to also, for the public, need to understand that this is an office of 2,200 people. Yeah. Actually, some of them I've talked to, but, it's just like when I went through, now I've made visits, now people say, I've been in the office 30 years. This is the first time that I see the DA coming and talking to us, right? And that's not a slight on my predecessor. It's the reality. You have an office in the largest county in the country. If we were state, we will be the 8th largest state. We have over 10 million people. It is impossible for anyone to see every one of the employees. So there's no question. There may be some that have never met me, just like some had never met the prior DAs.
They've never met him because, go back to my story about Joe Stalin, he only wants to talk to people who will tell him that mangoes can grow in St. Petersburg. And if you tell him that mangoes can't grow in St. Petersburg, then you are part of the problem, and you have to be punished.
He's not going to execute you, but he will reassign you from major crimes to traffic.
No, he's just going to let all the killers out of prison so they can execute you.
All right, let's hear the million-dollar question. George Gascon, why should the voters give you a second chance?
If you had to real succinctly state the case for your reelection, what is it?
I think, we are showing that the reforms that we put in place are working. Crime is coming down. It will continue to go down. We're working with all the other partners to make sure that we get to a 21st century type of approach to our work where we are able to deal with mental health appropriately, where we hold people accountable.
That word keeps popping up right and left.
That need to be held accountable, and people that need to be given a second chance are given an opportunity, and what we're doing is showing that that can be done.
And LA is safer with you in charge?
I think LA is safer today than it has been in a very long time, and I believe that it will be even more so as time goes on.
LA is safer now than it ever has been, or has been in a very long time, thanks to George Gascon and his leadership.
Now, I know he didn't live here for a good 15 years when he was in Arizona or San Francisco. I've lived in the city of Los Angeles my entire life. This might be the most dangerous it's been since the 90s.
Does he not talk to people? Does he not drive around Los Angeles County and have dinner at restaurants and talk to the waiter and talk to the bartender and talk to the people that own the restaurants? Does he not go to the jewelry shops and talk to the people who work there? Does he not talk to people who work in retail or work at the mall?
Maybe his gated community is really safe.
How about people who own cars? Does he talk to them? How about people who ride the metro? Does he talk to them? How about mothers walking their babies in Venice? This guy, he might be on drugs. I don't know.
And LA is safer with you in charge?
I think LA is safer today than it has been in a very long time, and I believe that it will be even more so as time goes on.
That's what he believes. And he thinks you're dumb enough to believe it too. So here's what I want to do. It would be very easy for me to lose my temper and to get very close to sounding like someone commenting in an LA City Council meeting. But I'm on high blood pressure medication, so I can't do that today. So here's what I want to do. I think what we should do is try to be positive. The weekend is almost here. We live in a beautiful place, even though the people who are elected to run it do everything they can to try to ruin it. So here's my question to you at 800-222-KABC. 1-800-222-5222. What is it that you like most about George Gascon? I want to know, what do you like about the District Attorney of Los Angeles County? Now, I personally want to be positive, but I have no control over you. You have your own mind. You have your own thoughts. You have your own mouth. You have your own cell phone. I'm encouraging you to be positive, but I'm not your mother. I'm not your boss. I'm not your spouse. I can't even give you a final warning. I want to know, what do you like most about LA County District Attorney George Gascon? I'm going to sit back and let you talk. Now, just in case you get real excited, you can't use any words that the FCC won't allow. But everything else is fair game. So, for the record, I'm asking the question, what do you like most about George Gascon? 800-222-KABC is the telephone number. 1-800-222-5222. If you'd like to email the show, you can do so at johnnydon'tlikeshow@gmail.com. That's johnnydon'tlikeshow@gmail.com. And Randy, you're monitoring the mailbag.
Pam writes in at johnnydon'tlikeshow@gmail.com. My favorite thing about George Gascon, his term is almost up.
And, of course, if you want to listen to the podcast edition of this show, let's say after this hour is done, if you want to send it to George Gascon, Randy, that's easy to do.
That's right. All you got to do is go to KABC.com, click on podcasts, go to the Apple Podcast app, iHeart, Spotify, search for The John Phillips Show, hit subscribe. Even easier way than that, though, is downloading the new KABC app. Search KABC AM in the Apple or Android stores. It is the best way to listen live whenever and wherever you are, especially when you're outside of the LA radio listening area. Heck, we got a guy email us who listens all the way from South Africa. That's right. We're very popular in Johannesburg. But you can also listen to podcasts all day long. In fact, you can listen to this constantly.
We got some wobbly knees allies.
And Randy, this weekend, our pal Doug McIntyre is having a big book event.
That's right. Doug McIntyre's last book event of the year is tomorrow, the 14th, from 2 to 4 p.m. at the Barnes & Noble in Thousand Oaks. The address is 160 South Westlake Boulevard. That's the Barnes & Noble in Thousand Oaks, Saturday from 2 to 4, where you can see Doug McIntyre and get your copy of Frank Shadow signed.
Right now, we're taking your calls at 800-222-KABC, 1-800-222-5222. LA's District Attorney George Gascon is expected to announce his re-election bid tomorrow at the SEIU offices on Beverly. So I want to know, what do you like most about George Gascon? I'd love to answer the question myself, but it's been a long week, and I don't think I can do that without getting canceled. So that's why I need your help at 800-222-KABC, 1-800-222-5222. What do you like most about George Gascon? We're trying to be positive here, but again, I'll remind you, I'm not the boss of you, so I can't control what comes out of your mouth. The District Attorney of Los Angeles County, George Gascon, is expected to announce his bid for re-election tomorrow at 11 a.m. at the SEIU offices on Beverly Boulevard. I would love to tell you all of the things I like about George Gascon, but I've got to do another hour and a half of radio, and I think if I answered the question honestly, the manager may come out with a hook. So here's what I'll do. I gave a speech earlier this week in Alhambra, and the biggest response I got from the whole, I think it was a 25 or 30-minute speech, was a line I used about George Gascon. Would you like to hear it from my speech, Randy?
Let's hear it.
Here's what I said. We all know that Newsom loves to break barriers with his appointment powers. I guess he could have appointed George Gascon again, but since Pennsylvania elected John Fetterman, the Senate already has someone serving with brain damage. Got a big response in the room. All right, what do you like most about LA County District Attorney George Gascon? 800-222-KABC, 1-800-222-5222. Let's begin with Susan in Whittier. Susan, you're on KABC. Hello.
Hi there. Love the program, and I don't always pay attention, but anytime you run Gascon speaking, I am just taken back to being young, and I just loved Kermit the Frog. And I want to hear him sing It's Not Easy Being Queen. I know he'd do a bang-up job.
You know, there's a duet with Jimmy Buffett and Kermit that we're going to have to play when we come back.
Oh, please. And I'm going to go make a pina colada just to enjoy that.
All right, that song coming up just for you, Susan.
Thank you so much. And I love you. And Randy, hi. Bye.
Hi.
Thank you. Let's go to Greg, also in Whittier. Greg, you're on KABC. Welcome.
Hey, Randy, I just want to make a really quick comment. If you were talking about Steely Dan concerts and all the weed going around and stuff, if you ever want to experience anything, go to a Cheech and Chong live event. I went back in the 70s. 3 times I saw Cheech and Chong. That was the greatest experience I ever had. I laughed so hard, my jaws locked, literally locked, for twice out of the 3 times. But anyway, remember back in the days when the TVs used to go blank in the middle of the night? You wouldn't have a program on at, say, midnight, 1 o'clock in the morning?
Oh, yeah.
So that's what I want to say about George Gascon. There ain't nothing I can say good about that guy. Thank you.
Thank you for the call. Let's go to Bob in Rancho Cucamonga. Bob, you're on KABC. Welcome.
Hey, John. Hey, Randy. Thanks, guys. Hey, Johnny, take a deep breath, my brother. Don't blow out a freeze plug, all right? I have 3 positive things about Gascon, and I think it's a very positive thing that he's being exposed for the evil Soros monster he is. Guy's such a stinker putz. It's ridiculous. Number 2, I'm glad he's not the DA of San Bernardino County. Thank God. I know we've spoken about this before. He's one of the reasons I moved out of LA County, out of El Monte in the San Gabriel Valley to San Bernardino, just because of. Okay, get back on track here. My number 1 reason the positive thing about Gascon is he reminds me every time I see him, just like the little skunk he is, but an even more sleazy Warner Brothers Pepe Le Pew. I don't know why, but for some reason that makes me happy. So it's positive.
Well, that comparison would be great because Pepe Le Pew got canceled.
Exactly.
Well, the election comes in March.
You know, he again, being in San Bernardino County I'm 62 years old. That was the best damn move I've ever made. I lived in Downey. I lived in El Monte, La Puente, West Covina, and just coming out to San Bernardino County. I don't ever want to leave California. I love this state so much. I mean, just like what's his name on Channel 7 used to say, from the desert to the sea to all of Southern California. We have
Jerry
it all
Dunphy.
here, but it's just being so raped by our governments, local governments, and state. It's just so sad. But if we get him out, damn it, I'll be a happy son of a gun. Hey, guys, peace. We love you. Have a great weekend.
All right. Thank you so much for the call. You know, if the entire state got raped, Randy, like he just suggested, I think George Gascon would let them out, too.
It's all the R jokes you're getting today.
All right. Let's go to Sprague in Chatsworth. Sprague, you're on KABC. Welcome.
Hi, John and Randy. My best thing for George is if I could become a rich man and package his BS to put Bandini out of business.
Wait, I'm sorry. What was that again?
If I could only put George Gascon's comments or BS, I could put Bandini out of business.
I do not get that reference.
I don't either, but thank you for the call, sir. I appreciate it. I know Bandini's a street in Vernon. Used to be right next to my dad's office. Let's go to Jeff in Encino. Jeff, you're on KABC. Hello.
Yeah, hi. What I like most about George Gascon is that when he talks, He sounds just like Ricky Ricardo with a C, not like Katie Porter with a T.
Babalu.
Babalu.
Thank you for the call. All right, let's go to Jeff in Mission Viejo. Jeff, you're on KABC.
Hey, guys. I think the reference to Bandini was there used to be it was a big fertilizer company.
Oh, I see. Okay, now it
Bandini
makes
is the
more
word
sense.
for fertilizer. So along those lines, I have a joke, an old Red Sox joke. He had a Vegas show and a little foul mouth, and he used to tell a joke that reminds me of Gascon. And the joke went like this: how do you keep flies out of your kitchen? You put a bucket of blank in your living room. So down here in Orange County, we're happy that he keeps most of the criminal element up there in Los Angeles and away from us.
Yeah, a case could be made for that. Although I'll tell you this, looking at the papers in Riverside County, when there's a crime that happens out here, I can't tell you the number of times when they list the address of the person they arrested, it's an LA County address.
Yeah, well, that's true. There definitely is some spillover, but I think that, the crazier they get with like the no bail. I mean, why would you go to another county where the prosecutor is normal?
That's true. You should stay in LA County if you're a criminal.
Yeah, right.
Business is good.
Yeah.
All right, thank you for the call. Let's go to Morris in Commerce. Morris, you're on KABC.
Yes, good afternoon, John. You got good intentions, but you made a little mistake. What you should have done is ask the registered voter that voted for him, then ask him what the grade of education is, what level is, then how often he takes a dump on the toilet. Because many of the registered voters don't even know what they're voting for. This is the end result. So until they come up with the SAT IQ test for the voter to take, we're in trouble. Nothing's going to change. So I have the registered voter call that voted for him. He should have never got voted in. But this is the end result. Everything starts at ground zero.
All right. Well, thank you for calling, sir, and thank you again for being so crass. 800-222-KABC is the telephone number, 1-800-222-5222. What do you like most about George Gascon? As you can tell, the audience has been thinking about this question, marinating in those juices, as they say, for quite some time. You have a lot to say. I want to know. What do you like most about LA County District Attorney George Gascon? Because he is running for re-election, and he's going to make the announcement tomorrow morning. What say you? 800-222-KABC, 1-800-222-5222.
Oh, a tropical island where the mango moon and banana sunshine.
And on this tropical island there lives a cousin of mine.
Sometimes he lives in the water, sometimes he lives on the land. Sometimes he likes to go sun himself on soft Caribbean sand. He's a Caribbean.
It's 1:49 on this Jimmy Buffett Friday on the John Phillips Show. Is that a duet between Jimmy Buffett and George Gascon?
No, that is a duet between Jimmy Buffett and Kermit the Frog here.
I could have sworn that was Gascon.
Let's check.
The turtles, they've seen him hop where the pineapple grows.
Quite frankly,
if you'd like to email the show, you can do so at johnnydon'tlikeshow@gmail.com. That's johnnydon'tlikeshow@gmail.com. And Randy, you're monitoring the mailbag.
John, how dare you play Jimmy Buffett's duet with Kermit? The only one that Kermit gets to sing with is me, Miss Piggy. Sincerely, Katie Porter. And yeah, he misspelled her last name, too.
All right. More of your calls coming up at 800-222-KABC, 1-800-222-5222 in moments. George Gascon, the district attorney of Los Angeles County, has announced or will announce tomorrow morning that he's running for re-election. So I want to know, what do you like about him the most? At 800-222-KABC, 1-800-222-5222. Let's begin with Mary in Orange. Mary, you're on KABC. Hello.
Yes, hi. The best thing I like about him is that we can make fun of his last name, like Conehead or Cone of Silence, because when he talks and the cone comes down, his lips are moving, but nothing's coming out.
So you like him for the comedic value?
Absolutely. Yeah, we can make fun of his last name till the cows come home.
All right. Thank you for the call. I appreciate it. Let's go to Yana in San Juan Capistrano. Yana, you're on KABC. Welcome.
Hi, John.
Hi.
Yeah, Randy and Kevin Tripp. So, you know what I like about him most is that the way he talks and what he says, so he can expose his views on everything.
Yeah, he doesn't lie about what he believes in. He lies about the results, but he doesn't lie about what he believes in. He's quite honest about that. So everything you need to know about George Gascon, he's perfectly willing to tell you. People just need to listen.
Yeah, kind of like some other politicians and such I've heard about. People really need to listen and pay attention. And I want to give a shout out to, I think it was Susan and Covina. Cheers to that pina colada.
All right. Thank you for the call. I appreciate it.
All these people are getting started early, John. It's not fair.
And I'm sitting here drinking a Waterloo peach sparkling water. And they're drinking pina coladas. What's wrong with this picture? Let's go to Ben in Compton. Ben, you're on KABC. Hello.
Hey, what's up, John?
Hey there.
Hey, yeah, I was just listening to all these people talking smack about George Gascon. He did what he said he was going to do. Back in the day when I got arrested, they used to keep me like forever. I had to wait like 2 or 3 weeks just to see the judge. And then, now I get out and, they give me a court date, and I go, they give me my community service, and it's not so bad, we're not bad people. We just need a chance, you know what I'm saying?
So business is good.
I wouldn't say business is good, but, it's not so bad. They act like, we're going to burn the town down or something. It's like, we're just, we got nothing better to do, so sometimes we drink a little too much, and, things happen, but it's not that bad,
What's on the docket tomorrow? Are you going to rob Target or Walmart?
No, we don't fool with that. Hey, we just maybe a liquor store or something, it's just, we're not like, we're not like that, like the Antifa, the Black Lives Matter. We're not down like that. Hey, we just like to, like the stuff's expensive. You can, just a bottle of cognac can cost you put you back like $80. That's a bag of bud that I could buy with that money. You know what I'm saying?
Now I hear the turn signal out in the background. Is that car yours or stolen?
Oh, you're too much. Hey, this belongs to my boss. Hey. This belongs to my boss's ride. I cut grass. I smoke a little grass, but I cut grass for my occupation. But it doesn't pay that much. It's not like I have that much money to buy all these things that I need, So like sometimes shoplifting, it sounds bad, when you say it out loud, but in the context of getting through the day, it's not that big of a deal, So I think you guys are blowing it way out of proportion.
What store is the easiest to steal from where they look the other way?
To be honest with you, it's the little liquors of the Koreans. The ones that the Koreans do, they will come after you with baseball bats. No lie, they'll take your head off. But like you want to find a store that like you say, the cashier is dummy, right? Like you find those places, and then you just do what you got to do.
If the cashier is dummy.
The cashier, yeah, that's funny, dude. But like I'm saying, it's not like he's letting the murderers out or nothing. It's just the people who are like mischievous, like nothing. It's not so bad, Like I think people are getting a little way worked up over nothing. That's just my opinion,
Well, thank you for the call, sir. I appreciate it.
That either was 100% real or that guy can stay in character really well.
At first, I thought this has to be a joke. But the fact that he just kept going and going and going, maybe it was real.
When people are doing a bit and you ask them a question or two, it trips them up. That guy kept going. I know SAG-AFTRA is on strike, so maybe we have a talented actor listening.
I'm not sure. What was interesting was he didn't regard the theft as his occupation. He said he cuts grass as his occupation, so I guess the theft is just a hobby.
That's his side hustle.
You be the judge.
Live radio, man. There's nothing better.
We've got one more hour coming up on the John Phillips Show right here on Talk Radio 790 KABC.
If the cashier is dummy,